Today, we're traveling north-eastward of Ghana to Yendi, the capital of the Dagomba people. The city has for centuries hosted and still hosts the overlord of the Dagbon traditional kingdom, the Yana. According to toponymists, experts in the study of place names of all kinds, the name Yendi is derived from the name of an ancient shrine, Yendri, a direct translation of which means, "Where do I eat from?" In the following report, we'll break it all down in Yendi, the capital of the Dagomba, or better pronounced, the Bama people.
Being one of the major towns, both in terms of historical and economic relevance, any first-time visitor to this ancient town cannot fail to notice the local craftspeople, smoke weavers.
The
road to Yendi is host to a hilltop known for a historic battle fought with slingshots hundreds of years ago. The town is the traditional capital of the Dagbon Kingdom. The seat of the Yana, literally translated as King of Absolute Power, is a collection of cow skins. Thus, when Dagbamba talk of the political history of Dagbon, they often refer to it as the Yendi skin, not throne or crown. But how did the capital of Dagbon become known as Yendi? For a lesson in history, we turn to senior lecturer of linguistics at the University of Education, Winneba, Dr. Samuel Al-Hassan Isa.
The Yana being the traditional overlord, it was assumed that anybody who said he was going to Naya obligatorily or necessarily was talking about the Yana. And for that matter, Naya meant town of the chief. But for probably some morphological processes in the language, we get Naya becoming Naya, where we just have a situation where there's one vowel that is deleted before the Ya joins the Na. And then in the study of the history of Dagbon, it is argued that there's a very powerful shrine in Yendi, and this Yendi is called Yendri. And this shrine, anytime they were to sacrifice or to pacify the shrine, they needed a human being to do that, right? And the name of the shrine, Yendri, is where Yendi is derived from. Now, there is a question as to whether probably Yendi is likely to mean maybe if the person is sacrificed, where does he get anything to eat again?
Nagbiwa is regarded as the founder of present-day Dagbon. Lacking in a writing culture, the Bamba are one of the cultural groups with a very sophisticated oral culture woven around drums and other musical instruments. Thus, most of its history, until quite recently, has been based on oral tradition with drummers as professional historians. So, according to oral tradition, Dagbon has its genesis in the life story of a legend called Tohazie, translated as the Red Hunter, who lived most of his life in this town. Yendi is not far from Salaga. Salaga was the largest slave market in the northern part of Ghana during the colonial era. However, the people of Yendi pride themselves with the fact that despite the proximity to the slave market, no indigene of this town has ever been engaged in slave trade. Ironically, Babatu, a famous slave raider, lived, died, and was buried in Yendi. This is his tomb. At the peak of the Dagbon chieftaincy conflict, development almost ground to a halt in this town. Fortunately, economic activities are booming again now that peace has returned. Dr. Isa says toponymy, which is the study of origins of names of towns and villages, is important as it helps to remind people of their origins.
There is a link between the past, the present, and even the future. And that is why, as linguists, we feel that we should not just limit ourselves to studying the phonology, the morphology, the syntax, the semantics of the language. We must also look beyond that and see what has made the people to give the name they have given even to their own place of abode.
Whenever you visit Yendi, remember that its original name was Yendiri. Where do I eat from? So how much is one guinea fowl? 35. Oh, 35. That's the way we buy it in Accra. How can I travel from Accra and come and buy guinea fowl for the same price here? Abdulhai Mumin, GBC News, Yendi.